Alright, we're back again. This video is different than the usual ones because this is the base setup. The part most people skip and then wonder why nothing works. I'm going to explain this step by step, real simple. So even if you're new, you'll understand what needs to be checked before running cheats or mod menus. First things first, we're going to start in the Windows search bar down on your taskbar. From here, you want to type antivirus to open your system's built-in security settings. This is where Windows manages real-time protection and background scanning, and this is also where a lot of conflicts usually come from. Before running any cheats, you must always come here first to disable it. As you can see, we're now in virus and threat protection. I want you to watch closely what I'm checking here, because this area is critical. If things aren't configured correctly, it can interfere with programs running in the background and cause errors people don't understand. So just turn all this off, which is what's important. And we'll proceed to the next parts that needs to be switched off as well. So the next section that we will be proceeding to is core isolation. So this section is probably, I would say, the most important, other than switching your antivirus off, which automatically deletes your loader every time you try to download it. But core isolation, this part is considered to be as important as the first part, because this part, in a sense, it controls your driver block list, which is important and which is needed for the menu to run properly for your game. And within this section here, everything needs to be switched off, and the last two options requires a reboot, followed by a next reboot. When you take the last one off, which will be technically grayed out for some users, if it's grayed out, you just restart your PC and try to turn it off again, but we must completely turn off our antivirus first so that it doesn't come back on and be a pain in the ass every time we restart the PC. And when I say completely off, I mean off for good, which I will show you guys how to do. So the next part we're moving into isn't always necessary for everyone, but this video is about getting your PC prepared properly so you don't run into problems later on. The goal here is to have your system set up in a way that avoids conflicts across different menus. Anything BIOS related is separate. This video is strictly focused on Windows security settings. The next sections we're looking at are things like smart app control and firewall and network protection. Again, these don't affect everyone the same way, but they're common areas where issues come from. So I want you to pay attention to what I'm showing here and understand how these settings can impact programs running in the background. It's just best it's off.
Steady groove maintains clear-fitting flooring.
Alright, remember what I mentioned earlier about this being a complete setup walkthrough? This is the next part of that process. From here, we're going to head over to a web browser, whichever one you use, Chrome, Edge, Opera, it doesn't really matter. I want you to watch closely what I'm doing on screen, because when you're looking up system tools or utilities, there are often a lot of misleading or fake links out there. So we are heading over to a web page called SordMD Control. So just follow along and pay close attention to the link I'm navigating to. This part matters because when you're dealing with system utilities, there are a lot of fake or misleading downloads out there. I want you to understand how to identify the correct source and how these kinds of tools interact with your system, so you don't run into issues later. The key takeaway here is knowing how to manage and review your system setup properly. And if you ever need to undo changes, you should always make sure you know how to restore things back to default. After you click download, don't rush anything. Just wait a moment and let the page do its thing. You'll usually get redirected to the actual download page and just hit download again. And that's it. The download will begin. Once it finishes downloading, move it somewhere easy to find, like your desktop. From there, we'll pause for a moment. Now, an important note before we continue: in order to open this file, you're going to need WinRAR installed on your system. If you don't already have WinRAR installed, don't worry, I'll show you how to install it real quick, one time, so you can follow along without any issues. So just open up your web browser, whichever one you use, go ahead and search WinRAR. And once the results pop up, you'll see a few different sites. Just follow along with what I'm doing on screen. Click the same site I click on, and do exactly what I do on the page so you don't end up on the wrong one. Alright, that's it. WinRAR is now installed. From here, just go back to the file you downloaded. You can double click it if you want, but extracting it is the better method and the one I always recommend. So go ahead and drag the file to your desktop, then extract it using what we just downloaded. So when you go to extract the file, it may ask for a password. Once that's entered, the contents will extract properly. From there, take a moment to look through what's inside and follow along with what I'm showing on screen. The main thing here is understanding how these system tools work and what they change, so you know exactly what's happening before moving on. Make sure to click Disable Windows Defender. Once it turns red, you can go ahead and close everything off, the program and the File Explorer. And that will be it for that part. You can go ahead now and restart your PC now. If you followed along exactly as shown, your system should now be properly prepared and ready for the next steps. From here, any additional requirements will usually be clearly indicated by whatever software or tool you're using. In some cases, things like secure boot or virtualization may be mentioned, and that's when you'd need to review your BIOS settings separately. But other than that, you should be all good if you followed along exactly as shown. Your system should now be properly prepared and ready for the next steps. So at this point, once everything is set up properly, you're ready to move forward with whatever software or service you're using. That's going to wrap up this episode. And again, this video is brought to you by Arcane Services. Without them, none of this would be possible. They're one of the few providers out there that genuinely think about their customers and handle support like it's their own system, not just a transaction. I literally go to Arcane Services for all my tools, software-wise, cheat-wise, game-wise, everything. They're genuinely top tier, no cap. Alright guys, thanks again for watching. I'll try my best to drop a couple more useful videos down the line for you guys, so make sure you're tapped in. Don't forget to drop a follow, a like, or a subscribe. It literally takes 2 seconds and it really helps out the channel. Again, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.